Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Greene, Director of Network Expansion, and I very much appreciate your time for tuning in today. Wow, what an amazing first 2 months in 2023, and March is off to an even hotter start. So I appreciate your time even more because I just know how busy things are right now. And if you're watching our program today, and you're still sitting on the fence, I mean, what in the world are you waiting for? If selling travel is your dream, then make it happen. Don't wait. Don't miss this very special time in the travel industry. You know, we speak about record sales and it's all true, but when you dig a little deeper, the numbers are truly amazing. When you look at sales from those that joined our network in like the last year, boom, they're doing amazing. So don't wait. If you have a desire to sell travel, we have a path that's helped countless travel advisors succeed. We might not be a great fit for you. We get it. Not everyone is ready to achieve elite numbers and the time that it takes to do that and build a business. But we're excited to share our story. We're happy to answer your questions and see if it's a good fit. Because in the Avoya network, when it's a good fit, let me tell you, it produces amazing results. So reach out to avoyanetwork.com to start the process today. We have a really great show lined up for you today. An Avoya Insider segment with one of our favorite returning guests, Skip Fortier, Vice President of Network Expansion. And guess what? Skip has breaking news to share concerning sales numbers for the Avoya Network. He'll also share the calendar of some of the trade shows that Avoya Travel is involved in. Let me tell you, Skip is on the move. And we may have to implant a tracking device on him just so we know where he is. And he's going to share that and more. Also, great advice. Because on top of being an executive with Avoya Travel, he was a very successful travel advisor for many years. We can't wait for the breaking news and to welcome Skip Fortier back to the show here in just a few moments. We're also following a few stories in our Eye in the Industry feature, including a big raise coming for Delta Airline pilots, a cleaner and bigger version of the NCL Prima class ships. They're coming soon. And good news from our friends at G Adventures about the reopening of Machu Picchu. You remember a few weeks ago, we spoke about the political unrest there in Peru, and that had shut down that iconic location. We'll have the latest on all of these stories coming up here in just a minute. We'll also discuss promotions, resources, the amazing travel agent education powered by Avoya platform, all the ways you can like us and follow us on various social media channels, and of course, wrap up with the contact information so you can be part of the #1 host agency in leisure travel, Avoya Travel. So let's kick it off. This week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update, some industry insights and our Eye on the Industry feature. Now, in a story we sourced from Travel Weekly, pilots at Delta Airlines easily approved a new contract that's going to raise their pay by 34%. Yeah, big number over 4 years, and likely lead to a similar agreement covering union pilots at other U.S. Major airlines. The Airlines Pilot Association said 78% of Delta pilots voted yes on the contract. Delta has about 15,000 pilots on its roster. Smaller airlines face a shortage of pilots as major airlines recruit from their ranks, while the biggest carriers say they have enough. The shortage has given unions the leverage to bargain for rich pay increases. The union said Delta deal will lead to a cumulative $7 billion in pay raises. The ratifications come after picketing by pilots last summer, and about 6 months ago, the Delta pilots voted to authorize a strike. Now, the contract takes effect today, March 2nd, runs through 2026, and then it can be amended. By federal law, union contracts in the airline industry do not expire. Also from Travel Weekly, Norwegian Cruise Line will slow the release of its last 4 Prima class ships as the brand builds them bigger and equips them with the last two to use green methanol as an alternative fuel. Executives said during Norwegian Cruise Line's Holdings' fourth quarter earnings call on Tuesday. The third and fourth Prima ships will have a 10% increase in gross tonnage compared to the first two, making them around 157,000 gross tons. Those Prima ships are expected to be delivered in 25 and 26, respectively. And the fifth and sixth Prima class ships will be built approximately 20% bigger. Now, they're expected to join the fleet in 27 and 28. Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings CEO Frank Del Rio was quoted as saying, additional modifications will be needed to enable the use of both methanol and diesel, but the action is an exciting step towards the goal of reaching net zero carbon emissions. The investment sets up NCL to use methanol when the fuel is more widely available during the life of the ship. And finally, in a follow-up story we had back a few weeks ago, the shutdown of Machu Picchu. This also from our friends at Travel Weekly. G Adventures has relaunched tour operations in Peru following the reopening of Machu Picchu on February 15th. Starting yesterday, G Adventures say tours have restarted in order to support the local communities and businesses in Peru that heavily rely on tourism for income. The adventure tour operator says minor adjustments will be made to itineraries in areas such as Puno, while the company monitors the situation. Most itineraries will run as normal. Machu Picchu has been closed to social and political unrest in Peru. So we'll continue to keep our eye on that story. Okay, time for our weekly Q&A. We're excited to welcome back one of our favorite guests. I don't just say that because he's my boss, but he is. Skip Fortier, Vice President of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. Skip's been with Avoya Travel for over a decade. He's a former affiliate in the Avoya network, an incredibly knowledgeable and well-connected member of our industry. And oh yeah, I said breaking news to share with us. So please help me welcome back On Deck with Avoya, Skip Fortier, Vice President of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. Skip, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, Chris, thanks. Great to be here.
So Skip, real quick, give us the top highlights for those that missed your past couple of appearances about your career in the travel industry and how you've been part of Avoya Travel for what, 12, 13 years now?
15 years.
Wow.
So I've been coming up to 35 years in the industry. So I started back with United Airlines and worked some various jobs. I did junkets in Vegas, ran the sales teams of a couple agencies before coming to Avoya as an independent affiliate. And for 4 years, I sold travel as an independent affiliate for Avoya. And about 11 years ago, the company asked me to sell my agency and come on board to run the network expansion team.
Okay, so on to the exciting news. I think I hyped it up enough. Skip, you have breaking news to share with us today, right? About sales and the Avoya network. Share away, my friend.
Yeah, it was so exciting this morning. Of course, what we all do as executives, the morning we look back at the sales from the day before, and very excited to see that our network of amazing independent affiliates broke an all-time 56 years of sales for Avoya Travel, 28 years as a host agency, broke all the sales records yesterday. Just amazing to see where we were 18 months ago and where we are today. So proud of the network that they were able to achieve, this amazing number.
Unbelievable, absolutely. And I guess the first thing to ask, kind of as a follow-up, have you ever seen anything like this here in the travel business so far?
No, I think this is, this has been unprecedented times for the whole industry. I think some people are calling it revenge travel. But I think we can agree that after 2 years of being cooped up and not being able to travel, everybody wants to go somewhere right now. And I think we're starting to see the effects and see not only today, but what's going on for future travel.
Skip, what are your early takeaways? I mean, do you think this translates to a good time maybe to consider getting into the travel industry, or have they already kind of missed that boat?
No, I think, one of the best indications I would say about the future of travel, why it's the right time right now to get into it, is the fact that so many vendors are releasing their itineraries and travel dates so far out. I mean, it used to be a year in advance you'd get the dates. We have people, some of our vendors now have 2025 and 2026 bookings available already out there that travel professionals could sell. So now is the time to take advantage of consumers' desire to travel today. And everybody in the industry feels that this trend will continue and it will not slow down just based on what we're seeing so far this year.
Skip, talk to me about the new travel agent education powered by Avoya. Of course, we had Gina Hoyt on, who oversees that program, but tell me a little bit about the thinking behind it, why it translates to being just a smart investment for someone that really has the goal of building a robust business selling leisure travel.
Sure. I mean, the new travel agent education program powered by Avoya, it's an amazing opportunity for someone who's new to travel and needs to have the basic understanding kind of how our industry works. If you're new to travel and you're coming into this and you came from another career, you may be amazing at the career, maybe amazing real estate at selling cars or whatever your career was. We have so many people coming from all different facts of life right now, but they need the groundwork. And so I see it as a groundwork for future success. You know, if you're new to the industry, there's so much you need to learn and understand. And this new education program that Avoya Travel has, it's a great start, and it's really setting the groundwork for the future, for your future success.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it doesn't end there. You know, if you go from the education and then you choose to become an affiliate in the Avoya network, we have the amazing programs like the, you know, Foundations for Early Success, and then the brand sales and all of the support. So it really gets you to that ground floor, and then the future is up to you, right?
Yeah, education never stops. If you're going to be successful in this industry, you always have to be learning. You don't just get the basics down and that's all you do for the rest of your career and sell travel. You always have to be learning new things, new products, new itineraries, new opportunities to sell to consumers.
No doubt 2023 is going to be a pretty busy year, and it's certainly starting off pretty busy. Talk me through, if we have the time, because I know your calendar is pretty extensive, some of the industry events you're attending just in the spring, right? On behalf of Avoya Travel, Skip.
Well, you and I both are very fortunate we get to represent Avoya Travel at so many events during the year. And first and foremost, of course, are the 4 major trade shows that we attend. So we have the upcoming show in Vegas, the Vegas Travel Agent Forum, followed by Cruise Through 360 in Fort Lauderdale, the ASTA Global Convention in San Juan, and then in the fall, Cruise World, which is back in Fort Lauderdale.
And on top of that, you're going to be representing the company for a couple of days. It's like a, you know, whirlwind trip, but you're off to Europe too, right?
Yeah, so I'll be attending the ASTA River Cruise Summit in Budapest. That's in 2 weeks from today. So we're very excited about that. And then there's just so many other events. I represent Avoya Travel at PATH, which is the Professional Association of Travel Hosts. They're having their symposium in San Juan right prior to ASTA. The ASTA Legislation Day in Washington this spring, which is an amazing opportunity for ASTA members to meet with members of Congress up on the Hill and talk about all the issues that face the travel industry. Travel Leaders Network, which we are now part of their consortium. They have a host leader alliance meetings that I'll be at, and then the EDGE Travel Leaders Network EDGE Conference, which is in Nashville. And then this fall, I represent the company at ASTA's Business Summit.
Wow. Like I joked around, we're going to have to get you tagged just so we can keep track of where you're at.
I need one of those Apple.
Yeah, the AirTags.
AirTag, that's it.
Skip Fortier, Vice President of Network Expansion, is our Avoya Insider guest today for On Deck with Avoya. Skip, we touched on it briefly earlier, but I wanted to circle back on your experience as a travel advisor. And when you were in the network, you were always among the best of the best in yearly sales. So tell me a couple of things that you think you did really great in your agency that made a difference that you might pass along to a different travel advisor.
I think for me, it was making a connection with the consumer. That was always foremost when I would start a call or when I first got a lead. Even before I started talking, the process of trying to figure out a vacation or sell them something, I wanted to know all about them. I wanted to know about their family. I wanted to know about their past travel experiences. I wanted to know what their expectations were. It isn't just about, okay, I want to go on a cruise. Here's a cabin, book it. We have to make sure they're going on the right cruise, depending on the size of their family or what they're looking for, what they want to achieve, what kind of itinerary they want. There's so many questions that you have to ask before you even get into the sales process. And I think that's what I was best at, was, you know, forming a connection and getting to know the consumer before I even started selling them anything. And that worked for me.
So I guess it's fair to say that good listening skills could be a great closing skill as well then?
Definitely. It's not about you doing all the talking. It's you have to let the consumer talk and pick up the key points during that conversation. And the more you listen, the more you learn.
So it's probably silly to ask, seeing how you have such an extensive work travel itinerary, but any personal travel you're excited about, or you're just hoping to get home for a little bit sometime this year?
We travel with good friends of ours who are also, they're actually affiliates of Avoya. We travel every year, and lately we've been doing national parks. So this past year we went to Yellowstone, and this year we're going to Estes Park, Colorado. So looking forward to that this summer.
Oh, that'll be amazing. Absolutely great time to go to. What about highlight trips that you've had a chance to take because you've been in the travel industry? Because let's face it, it's great to put up big sales, but it's also pretty cool to get access to some of the benefits that you do have access to from being in the travel industry. So help inspire some people, Skip, and tell us a little bit about maybe what's possible from a travel advisor standpoint through some of your personal highlights.
Well, yeah, I think, the best way to learn a product is to experience it. Now, I'm not saying that if you've never been on an escorted tour, you can't sell escorted tours, or if you've never been on a cruise line, you can't sell them, but it's definitely an advantage if you've had that experience. So I was very fortunate early in my time as an affiliate for Avoya. I had started selling a lot of escorted tours, and I never had been on one. And I had an opportunity to go on a FAM escorted tour to England, spent a couple of weeks there, and really came back with a fantastic understanding of the product and what an escorted tour was all about. And I could say the same thing about river cruises and ocean cruises. Each product, each vendor is unique. So the more opportunities that you have, and that's one advantage of being a travel professional, especially with Avoya Travel, you have the opportunity to go on FAM trips and actually experience these products. And it really makes a difference to help when you want to close a sale.
Skip, just a couple more before we wrap up today, but any overall piece of advice you would offer someone in the industry or somebody just thinking about getting into the industry?
I think the biggest thing is ask questions. You want to, number one, you want the support of a host agency. Don't try doing this on your own. You can do this on your own, but you're not going to have the support, the technology, the higher commission levels if you try to do it on your own. So go out there and interview potential hosts or franchise, whatever you're looking at. Be sure they can offer you the help and the support that you need for your travel business. So the way I look at it, there's three important questions you want to ask. First, how many affiliates does this host or franchise have under their wing? And what's the size of their employee staff or their support staff? You want to make sure there's enough people on that staff to take care of the number of affiliates they have. That's important. The second one would be, is a sports staff available to you 7 days a week? A lot of people are doing this in addition to having another job. They're doing this and they're traveling, selling travel and nights and weekends. You want to know that there's a support team there on a Saturday afternoon. If you have an important question and you need support, that somebody's going to be there to help you. And I think the last question is so important if you're new to travel and you're trying to build your business. Ask how many affiliates they have, and look at the Travel Weekly Power List. And you can Google this. Travel Weekly Power List for 2022 is the last one. Look at their gross sales that they have to post. It's all provided by other host agencies and franchise. We make that public. And look at how many employees they have, and look at the average sales of the number of affiliates that they have. That's very important. That'll give you a really good indication of how strong that host agency or franchise model is.
And just to put it into perspective, we were talking and we didn't go over the specific number when you shared the breaking news earlier today, and we're not going to do that. But if you broke it out to an average affiliate sale on that one day, our 1 day sales, and I'm sorry, I'm not just bragging, but our 1 day sales kind of swamp some other of our competitors, their yearly sales by an average affiliate. So it just shows you the difference between night and day about what we have at Avoya Travel and what else is available. So great advice there, Skip. All right, so let's wrap it up the same way I do all of my Q&A sessions. And I know it's a bit of a redundant question. We covered a lot of the bases already, but are you optimistic about the future of leisure travel? And why would you say that?
If you look at where the industry is today and where it was 18 months ago, I think it's apparent that, we're on the right track. This momentum is going to continue for months and years to come. We have survived the worst hit the travel industry has ever had, at least in our lifetimes, even worse than the tragedy of 9/11. We were hit with volcano ashes in Europe that shut down travel for months. This was the worst 2-year period that our industry has faced. And look where we're at today. We're setting all-time sales records. The business could not be stronger. This is the time to get into the industry, and we hope you choose Avoya.
Skip Fortier, everyone, Vice President of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. Skip, thanks again for your time, for being on, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Next week, we're excited to welcome back to the show our great friend from CLIA, the travel advisor's most active advocate, and I think now a 3-time returning guest to On Deck with Avoya. Charles Sylvia, ECC Vice President of Industry and Trade Relations, will be joining us. Now, I'm going to be hosting that episode from our Avoya Travel Innovation Center out in California. So it's going to be a pretty awesome. It's going to be our formal countdown to our 100th episode, which is coming up here soon, a milestone we're very, very proud of here at On Deck with Avoya. We look forward to having Charlie back on the show with us. Always fascinating, great advice. If you look at the advice that Charlie gave us last year in 2022, and then you look back at the end of the year, how spot on that was, I'm really excited to have Charles Sylvia back on the show with us next week for On Deck with Avoya. So we had that offer for an experienced travel advisor that if you did over $100,000 in gross sales in 2022, and you have a sales report, it was in core leisure products like cruise and river cruise tour, escorted tour, you're new to the Avoya network, then we can waive the affiliation fee. Now, again, we have to get you connected with my team so we can make sure that you qualify for that promotion, but we've extended that through the month of March. So don't wait on that. Make sure you reach out and contact us and get started. And again, we'll be more than happy to go over all the details with you about that exciting promotion. We also have our ongoing promotion from our friends in the military, our veterans discount. Very proud of that for not only the veterans, but their spouses as well. $100 off the affiliation fee. So again, please reach out to us and get the details from my team on that specific promotion, and they'd be more than happy to work with you on the qualifications for that as well. It's been what, a couple of months? We started this at the end of November, so December, January, February, 3 months, and the results are through the roof. Travel agent education powered by Avoya. The dynamic curriculum, it's 30 to 40 hours of online self-paced lessons. You get to take the TAP test. The amazing value, because it's powered by Avoya, includes the memberships in CLIA and in ASTA and so much more. $100 off affiliation if you sign up and you complete it within 60 days. Again, my team happy to go over all the details, but don't snooze on this. This program is just going to get you set and ready to sell in this really fantastic industry. And then once you kind of have that basic education, you can take advantage of all the resources that are offered by Avoya Travel. So you really can go beyond your expectations, live leads and turnkey marketing assets. I mean, you can read the screen, all of the dedicated agency support. It's all true. It makes a big difference. It's why we're #1 in the industry. So again, make sure you reach out, whether you're new to the industry, whether you're an experienced travel professional. We have the resources to help you take it all to a brand new level. Okay, so you want to give us a follow, right? You don't want to miss anything that we've got going on at Avoya Travel and the Avoya Travel Network. So you can follow us at Avoya Travel Network on social media, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We upload our weekly show every week to YouTube. So we're always on Facebook. Just don't miss a beat. Follow us and you'll find out what's going on. And then, of course, you can always reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Please, chris.greene@avoyatravel.com. Pick up the phone. Again, avoyanetwork.com is where all of the information is. So please reach out. We want to tell our story. Now is the time. Again, big thank you to Skip Fortier for being our special guest this week. Thank you to Annabella from Trade Marketing for doing another wonderful job at producing our show. Can't wait to have Charlie back on the show from CLIA next week. Hopefully, we'll see you then from our Innovation Center out in California. Until then, take care, everyone. Have a great week.